Alright, here's another video for 2HT about exercise 18 and 19. And 18 and 19 are about the simplifying rules that I explained in the earlier videos. Now I do advise that you try to make 18 and 19 yourself first and only watch this video if you don't understand, because then I can explain it to you. The rules that you need to know are this one. If you multiply two squares with each other, like the square root of a times the square root of b, you can put it in one square root, so you get the square root of a times b. And another rule that you should know is that if two square roots are the same, like the square root of 7 plus the square root of 7, you can add them to get 2 times the square root of 7. Or if you have 3 times the square root of 2 plus 5 times the square root of 2, together it will be 8 times the square root of 2. Now over here, I wrote down a couple of the questions. The first one is 3 times the square root of 7 plus 6 times the square root of 7. Well, we see that the square roots are equal, so we can just add the 3 and the 6. So the answer is 9 times the square root of 7. And that's it. So this isn't too hard. Then we go on to the next exercise, and we also see that the square roots are the same here. So then we can add 8 and 3, so we get 11 times the square root of 2. Moving on to the next exercise, now we see that the 2 and the 3 are, well, not the same number, so that means you can write down no answer. Alright, so hopefully everybody gets it by now. If the square roots are the same, you can add them, otherwise you cannot. Moving on to exercise D, it's a bit more of a difficult question because here there is no square root. So we have 5 plus 2 times the square root of 5. Well, if there is no square root here, the square root can also not be equal, right? So this you can't add, so it's going to be no answer. Moving on to exercise E, here we see that the square roots are the same though. So we have 5 times the square root of 6 minus 1 times the square root of 6. Now please pay attention to the answer, because I know that some people will probably do this wrong. Some people will write down 5 because they just remove the square root of 6 here. But 5 is wrong. And I'll tell you why. You have 5 of these things minus 1 of those things. So the answer is 4 times the square root of 6. Right? You still have 4 of them left. That's what the answer should be. And then F, another trick question. Sometimes it looks like you can't solve it because these square roots are different. See that? So you probably want to write down no answer here. But that's wrong, because the square root of 4, you can calculate what it is. The square root of 4 is 2. Right? So we get 2 times, well, this is going to be 2. And the square root of 9 is 3. So we have to work out the square root first, and then we can see that we can just add it. Because this is 4 plus 3 is 7. Yeah, so don't be too quick to judge. Don't say no answer. No, check if you can work them out first. This is how exercise 18 works. Then we're going to go on to exercise 19. Here we have to do times. So the rules are, if you multiply two square roots, you can multiply those numbers with each other. And if there's numbers in front of it, you can also multiply them. So we're going to do 2 times 5 is 10. And then 3 times 6 is 18. And that is it. Moving on to the next exercise. 2 times 5 is 10. And 3 times 3 is 9. Now sometimes you can still simplify the square root, like over here. Because 9, the square root of 9 is 3. So this is going to be 10 times 3. So the answer is going to be 30. And then going to the last exercise, here we have 3 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 27. So first I have this 3 here, which we multiply with 1. So it's going to be 3. And then 3 times 27 is 81. 81 is also a square root that you can simplify, because that's just 9. And then 3 times 9 is 27. Now what I also advise you as the final thing in this video is to have a list of all the square roots, actually the first square root till the 10th I think, that have a good answer. Like here's the list for you. We know that the square root of 4 is 2. We know the square root of 9 is 3. We know the square root of 16 is 4. We know the square root of 25 is 5. So I'm just going to keep making this list. If you want, you can copy it. Because if you know this out of your head, then it's very easy to just apply it. So here's the square root of 64, that's 8. The square root of 81 is 9. And the square root of 100 is 10. But like I said also earlier, you can also just type this into your calculator. and then your calculator will tell you this answer probably. And if you then press the button above actually your calculator will just say this is the answer. So then you already know that's going to be a whole answer, so that the square root can disappear at some point. Hopefully this video helped everyone. If not, let me know and I can help you in another way. Bye bye.